That was the best episode of TV I've ever watched in my life.
Sunday night prime time is back in a big way.
So back.
Shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Shooter Bombshell Gooter. What's up, dude?
This was the closest I think I've ever come to calling an emergency podcast.
Really? After last night?
Last night watching it, I wanted to just get into it right away. I'm happy, though, that, some 17 or 18 hours later, we're sitting here. I've had time to collect my thoughts because I was very conflicted last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. In regards to what? We won't get into it yet, but just a little cliffhanger for later.
We'll progress through as we have in the first two episodes that we've done. The recoupling in America's vote.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bit of an oversight that I feel like we'll get into the oversights later, but something happened in there that I didn't expect. And I was like, ooh, yeah, maybe we got a little fixated on one thing.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Deep.
Mm-hmm.
Deep. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway from these three episodes, as you guys know, we lump like 3 or 4 episodes in, depending if it's the first half of the week or the second half of the week. This is obviously the second half of last week.
I have a feeling 60% of this episode is just going to be the recoupling from Sunday night.
I mean, it probably should be.
20%, where the fuck did Paige go?
Right? What the hell?
I do have an answer to that, but thankfully, it took me a while. But yeah, so yeah, we did this the other day. We're lumping these together. We're gonna work through all the important points, and then we'll get to it.
So let's start with couples.
Yep,
I like to do that so we know everybody stands.
Couples as of episode 9, right?
Yeah, couples leading into episode 12. So episode 9, we're doing 9, 10, and 12. We're not doing After Sun for.
I did watch After Sun, but
how was it?
It wasn't bad. It's actually kind of interesting. So they did have Janae and Serena from last season come in, which a lot of people were really excited for. But it is almost exactly what we do.
Okay.
They're just breaking down what's going on. And then there's like a couple of little extras. And Nick and Ace had joined the show for a little bit, just kind of talking about it. Both of them had cold sores. Very interesting.
And kissed people.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with all that.
I don't either, because Nick was in the wood chop challenge, and he had a thing on his lip. And I was like, interesting. Yeah. And then he was smooching.
I guess it's going to happen.
What do you mean?
If one person gets a cold sore, they're all going to have it.
I mean, that's true. But like, if one person gets the cold sore, they should probably sequester until a cold sore is gone, no? It's Love Island.
I don't know.
I did think this, though. And
Should we ask Fauci?
I did tell Dev.
Fauci was like the correspondent in the villa. It's like, we need to go to our resident doctor because they do have a resident therapist. I did find that.
Yeah, I heard that too.
So that is definite. But we need a doctor in there.
Well, I had this question to Dev earlier. They all have to get tested before the show, right?
They do. Absolutely.
STD testing? Like, all right.
Full scale, like everything gets tested.
That's what I figured.
In case you're having sex with the lights on.
I'm missing that reference.
Jeremiah and Hoda?
Dude, I have so much to say.
The lights were on.
No, I know, but
everybody was home.
We'll get into all of that.
Oh, that was a good one.
Where they stand in episode 9. This is before the pancake dilemma. But what I've noticed, everything that Huda says seems to irritate Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell she's trying to make a little joke, and he's, like, rolling his eyes. He does that laugh thing a lot, where she says something, he's like, oh, man. So you can see the cracks in the foundation.
Yeah, there's a lot of cracks in that foundation.
The foundation is almost non-existent at this point.
The foundation is toxic sludge.
Yes, it's a swamp, and it's slowly sinking further and further into that swamp. But as far as couples go, who do you have confidence in at this point? Like, who are you looking at going, ooh, they got a shot? I know Huda and Jeremiah seem to think that they're everybody's favorite couple, which is even funnier to me. But who do you have like, ooh, they might actually have a chance?
At this moment in episode 9,
yeah.
This is where it's going to get a little funky, but
We're going to mix it up.
Weirdly, I could see, even though I do think that Nick is just going to chase whoever shows any interest in him because I don't think he has any like
I
restraint.
like him though.
I really like Nick for the show. I think Nick and Sierra are probably the best couple at this point
I think so too.
because they could just sneakily just kind of like, yeah, they're still exploring, and then at some point it could click. I mean, we still have like 30 some odd days left. So
That's crazy.
there is a chance that at some point in the next 30 days, something clicks for them. They're like, you know what? We're tired of exploring. Let's just explore ourselves. And then they just kind of come together because it doesn't look like there's any issues whenever one of them kind of like explores something. Like,
That's
hey, I'm
what
going
I
to go sit
appreciate
down and I'm
about
going to go talk to this person or this person. And we saw that with Sierra talking to Pepe. There wasn't a whole lot of interest on Sierra's end. She did that because he pulled her. She talked to him for a little bit, but she was, while not saying I'm closed off or, I'm really confident in me and Nick, she did have a bit of a guard up. Maybe that was just as simple as she wasn't interested in Pepe, but there are some things there where it's like, yeah, you guys seem to be pretty easy going with all of this, especially in the challenges. So I think they're probably right now the strongest couple, but as you know, and as we've watched this, things change very quickly.
Way faster than I ever thought they would change. I agree with you. And why I like them is because of how they handle themselves with this whole process. It is a weird process. There are a lot of things that would make you uncomfortable. Somebody you like is going to talk to somebody else or going to make out with somebody else. But I talked about it last week with Beldasha. Like Sierra was still pretty cool with that whole situation, which I respected. Nick doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't really give a fuck.
Which
I mean,
is
he
fine.
makes those jokes here and there, especially during the challenges where he's obviously upset because he has to watch Sierra kiss somebody else. But like, if you look at all the other couples, I don't think there is a strong, and this includes Nick and Sierra, I don't think there is a really strong, like, they're going to go for a long time couple.
But then we need to talk about Taylor and Alandria because I love them together. And that's not the sentiment of everybody.
This isn't Friend Island.
I understand that.
I don't think so. And I think it's insane because Alandria is gorgeous.
Yeah,
Taylor's
I know.
not attracted to her. He's not. And I think when we see this, and obviously, episode 9 kind of starts off with the spicy kiss challenge, the leather. We get the bombshells coming in. They're all over the place. Once a little bit of pressure is applied, that's when Taylor's like, shit, I got to step it up. I got to do this. I got to do that.
It's because of the pressure that he's stepping. It's not
Correct.
because he wants, because that's Alandria's question. And that's a valid question. I'm not sold that that's what's going on.
Could be as simple as to say that he's just more of a slow burn.
That's what I think.
He's just trying to get comfortable and get to know her. But any time that there is a little bit of pressure and that's when you step it up, it's pretty easy to say like, all right, you're trying to speed things up a little faster here. And Alandria has been really cool about this. I think she's the coolest on the show, honestly. She is super chill, super easygoing, and she also has a good head about her where she's looking at other people like, yeah, that's not true. Like every conversation that she has with Huda, she's looking around like,
But who else is like that?
Shelly.
And Taylor.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I'm rooting for them so hard. Obviously, I see those warning signs of, and that's what I said, 2 episodes ago. It's like, can they find that spark? Objectively, I don't know how anybody could not be attracted to Alandria. She's beautiful. So I find it really hard to believe that he's not attracted to her. So my biggest thing with those two, because they seem like such best friends, and because it's so easy when they're talking to each other, I want them so badly to be able to find that spark that I don't think I can see myself rooting against them ever.
I'm not, and that's the other thing is, I think I said this on last week's episode. I'm not rooting against Taylor and Alandria. I think that they could be in the same grouping as what I just talked about with Nick and Sierra. Something could just click at some point.
That's what I'm hoping.
You know what? You're right. This is what we want. It's just hard to watch because Taylor just seems like he's coasting for a little bit. And Alandria has had multiple conversations with him, with Shelly, with other people in the house about how she wants him to do a little bit more. And she doesn't think he's interested.
But he's doing some other stuff. But again, the timing is
A little suspicious. And I think that at some point push is going to come to shove. And we're seeing that now with Jalen coming into the house. While I don't think that Alandria is attracted to Jalen, it's still another option for her.
Yeah.
And she's ready, willing, and just going out there to go explore. Whereas Taylor's like, oh shit, like, wait.
I got some competition.
I got competition. I got to step some things up. So it's tough to see. And I do think at some point they're going to have to break the mold. And they can still be best friends. I still think that they're both good individually. I just don't really see them as a couple. And I would love it if a Bombshell were to come in. You know, we don't really know what's going to happen with Iris and all those things,
Yeah.
which we'll get into later. But I would love it if Taylor could find somebody that he can couple up with, and Alandria can find somebody that she can couple up with, and they're both happy, and then they're still friends.
You know what I know what I want.
What's that?
I want that to happen. But then as they're coupled up with other people, they realize, like, oh, shit.
That could happen, yeah.
Taylor was the one. And Taylor's like, oh, shit, Alandria was the one. And then they come back together. Full circle would be
That
nice.
absolutely could happen.
I would love that.
Yeah. I know you're really cheering them on there. I don't want either of them to go home.
No, I know.
You know, obviously a hand is gonna be forced at some point. We're gonna have to make a decision. But right now I'm looking at it like I just don't believe in them as a couple. But I like them individually.
I can understand that. I do know that I'm rooting against the majority here.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people see the same things that you see.
Well, it's a different thing that we'll get into later when it comes to the vote. That's just a different situation. But this right now, like, yeah, I would love it if they were to somehow come together and Taylor is just, he's a little, you know, a little soft around the edges, maybe. Maybe he's afraid to get involved, but at some point he's going to have to.
Who's that?
Taylor.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said somebody else because I was reading the notes over here.
That's fine.
Now, the other couple, and then I want to talk about the spicy kiss and tell challenge. But the other couple that's worth noting is Charlie and Hannah. Because they connected quickly.
Yep.
And they seemed to really hit it off. She was feeling things that she hadn't felt before. Charlie was, I thought originally just so ready to couple up that
Yeah,
he
he
didn't give a
was.
shit.
I think he was.
But I do think that he found something there.
Yeah.
But it seemed like they made a nice connection. So I actually like those two
It was
together.
really hard until we get to episode 12. We didn't really see a whole lot of them.
No, and then we saw a lot of them.
And we saw a lot of them, and it's insane. But what we saw was just, yeah, you know, before bed, they're kissing, they're going to bed, they're hanging out together pretty much all day, they're talking, they're chatting, they're not really doing anything else, they're not kind of straying away or anything. So we're like, oh,
They seem
guess
solid.
they're okay.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
seem
really
fine.
know until, you know, the bombshells come in. Then it's like, whoa, all right, maybe not.
And well, clearly what that does, and that's the whole point, is it pushes them to make a move. And that's what we want to see. But the funny thing is seeing like the too little too late.
Yeah.
Not to spoil anything, we'll get to that a little bit later. But that does seem to be something that happens with multiple couples.
Yeah.
It's like the oh shit moment where it's like, oh no, I should have done that before.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. The Charlie and Hannah oh shit moment was frantic.
It was
to say the
crazy.
least.
It really was. The last couple I want to talk about, and then we can just start jumping around a little bit, because I need to get your take on it. Austin and Shelly. What's your take on Austin and Shelly?
I think Austin really likes Shelly. I think Shelly's more playing the game and seeing what's out there because she knows almost Austin's not going to stray. Like, I don't care if he goes and makes out with somebody in a challenge. I don't care if he goes and explores things because that's what I'm doing.
Well, question before you keep going. When they recoupled and Ace picked Amaya, you don't think that if Amaya was still available, Austin would have picked her?
No.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he still would have picked Shelly. I think he really likes Shelly. I think that the Amaya kiss on the docks when they were just doing, what were they doing? Meditation or whatever he's doing.
Whatever he does isn't. I've never seen that form of meditation.
Which
in my
was
life.
the funniest thing because when he's teaching meditation the next day and he finally goes in and like he goes like this and spreads and then like throws his tongue out there. Charlie's reaction to that is the funniest thing ever. Like, what the fuck?
That's the correct
that?
reaction.
That is the correct reaction. I'm so happy that somebody finally did that. But no, I think we haven't heard Austin talk about Amaya since then. Like, he came back, started talking about Amaya a little bit, and then boop.
Well, he was all giddy with Charlie when he was talking about it because they both
know.
finally found somebody.
Yep.
And they're both like, oh my God, oh my God. So I thought that was
It's almost like Ace being involved is what kept Austin involved with Shelly.
Honestly, yeah, I think
It's almost
so.
like that innate like competition. Another guy's coming after a girl that I'm with. I
Yeah.
need to step up, and then he just completely left Amaya on the roadside.
I got some question marks about Ace. I love Ace, first of all. I think he's great for the show. I said this early on. I think he's too cool for school. I think he's playing the cool card way too much.
He's definitely playing the cool card way too much. And when we get into the conversations with Amaya, I don't believe it. I simply don't believe that he's that taken aback by talking to Iris.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's fake.
I
I actually, to be fair, I don't even think he's really that much into Shelly. I think he's just going to do that with
think
every.
Shelly was the easy pick for him because his
he's
competition
cool.
was Austin.
Yeah, I think he's going to let this, and it's, if I had to predict what I think I'm going to feel in the future,
Okay.
I think I'm going to start getting annoyed by Ace and Shelly, and not for Shelly's fault, but for Ace's fault. I think what Ace is doing is he's kind of stringing her along, doing this and that because she's easy to talk to and they get along, but he's going to jump at every bombshell that comes in.
That's what, yeah.
And sometimes it's going to blow up in his face like Amaya. Sometimes it's not. And I think he's always going to go back to Shelly, and it's always going to be this rooting interest where it's like, all right, like, are you hoping that you guys couple up at some point and it's this big grand thing? Or are you just kind of like falling back to her for protection? It's almost like a safety barrier where he could be out on an island by himself where he's vulnerable, but he still has Shelly, and there's always that maybe a little trump card in the back pocket. Like, Shelly's got me.
Well, I also think that that's where his technique, if you want to call it that, it sets him up to not have to dive that far into things until he wants to, because his whole thing is like, I don't like to get intimate too early.
Yep.
I don't like to jump into anything too fast. I take my time. I'm a slow burn, blah, 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 blah. But if you listen to his conversations, they're pretty similar with any girl he's interested in.
For sure. I think what we're going to see is, and this is what I think about Ace with Shelly, once he picks Shelly, I don't think he's going to deviate. I think the reason why he didn't pick her when he had Amaya out there is because he still wants to explore, and he's worried that if he picks Shelly, he's just going to sit with Shelly.
Okay,
and I think
can buy that.
He says it to Huda, he says it to Jeremiah. It's too early for you guys to be doing this shit. He could easily be doing that if he was with Shelly from day one.
And he's looking at it like there's 30 more days.
He's the anti-Jeremiah.
Do you think that if Jeremiah and Huda hadn't gone that fast, that hard, that fast, that Ace would be playing differently? Because he takes that shit really personally. Like, he is invested in that.
I think he would still be, like, spouting out his nonsense about, like, playing the game constantly.
Okay.
But I don't think that he would really have a target. Like, I don't think that it, just because, you know, Jeremiah and Hoda aren't doing that anymore, it's not like he would look at, like, Nick and Sierra or look at,
I more mean,
Taylor
do you
be like,
think
you guys
that he is so hesitant to really dive into something because he doesn't want to be seen as Jeremiah and Huda? So he's like, I'm going to take all of the time.
Maybe
to
partially.
avoid looking like this.
Yeah, partially. I think more so it's probably his mentality when he came to the house.
Okay.
Like, I'm just going to go after whatever. That's why I think that he's so afraid to go with Shelly.
Okay, I got you. But let's talk the spicy kiss and tell challenge, because the guys get handcuffed or whatever on, everyone's in latex and shit, and they're on the big X's, and they get smooched by the girls, or they do whatever they want. That blah blah blah. Not important. The important part is we get 3 bombshells enter the villa.
The important part is Austin was fucking hilarious during this challenge.
I didn't think he was that funny. I thought he was way too horny. I was like, dude.
That's the funny part.
Like, but the shit he was saying, he was dead serious. He's like, I've been a bad boy. Like, please hit me. Somebody please hit me.
The best is all the edits that have been popping up where Hood is like dancing on Jeremiah and making out with him, and then the one opportunity where Hood goes down a little bit, Jeremiah looks across, it's just Ace with a huge shit-eating grin on his face, and in his confessional, he's like, yeah, I like to watch.
Yeah, that's my point.
He's so funny.
He's so horny.
He's very horny, but it's hilarious.
I didn't think it was that funny after a certain
If I was
point.
there in person, I wouldn't find it funny.
Okay.
Watching it on TV, I thought it was hilarious.
It just felt too desperate for me. Yeah. He really wanted somebody to hit him. Like, he was like actually hoping they would take the whip and go across his chest.
Well, that's what I was actually kind of surprised about, that Amaya didn't take the opportunity to tee off on Ace.
That's what I thought too.
She went into it, and she said this a little bit later. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of, like, I just wanted to tease him a lot. It's like,
well, here's the other thing.
You could have just walked over and just dropped the whip and turned around and walked away.
I actually appreciate that, because I think it just leaves a door open for him to shit talk. It's like, oh, and then she took it out of me because instead of just doing what she did, she was very kind of ho-hum about it.
Yeah.
And then walked away. I actually appreciate that.
Yeah, I think
more than the other. But like I said, 3 bombshells enter. We get Jalen, Pepe, and then Iris comes in after Jalen and Pepe. Jalen and Pepe do what I guess everyone does when you enter the show, is just make out with everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So they're all smooching. And then Iris does her thing. By the way, we need to talk reactions of the girls versus the guys whilst the smooching was taking place.
Yeah. Before that, the dudes aren't hot enough on this show.
That's what I thought.
Dudes are not hot enough.
Okay, at least I'm not crazy.
Yeah, you're not alone. These dudes are not hot. When they walk in, and I think it was Hannah that said it looked like two angels just came down from above. I'm like, fuck you looking at.
Really? I will say this, though.
Pepe looks good. He's got to get his hair fixed.
I agree with that. But the other
his
thing
tattoo is
with
fucking
Pepe,
awful.
his tattoos are brutal.
Both of them are actually, no, wait, hold on. Jalen has an OVO tattoo around his belly button.
What is
It's
that?
like Drake's OVO music.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
I might be wrong about that. It could be something else, but
I don't know what that is, but I did notice the Joker tattoo on Pepe's arm.
awful.
Brutal.
Tattoos this season are so bad.
They're tough. They're really tough. Like I said, the Cupid tattoo on Austin's chest is Cupid holding a machine gun. And then he's got a girl drinking a Slurpee on like his oblique. What the fuck are we doing?
That one actually makes some sense because he does strike me as somebody who frequents like a 7-Eleven down in Florida.
Okay.
So,
What's wrong with that?
do what you will with that information.
I frequented lots of 7-Elevens.
No, I meant like loiters.
Yeah.
You were loitering 7-Elevens?
I would hang out in the parking lot.
Picking cigarettes out of the trash can?
No, but you can get
see Austin doing that?
very cheap beers there. The big guys.
You having people buy you beers?
No.
You were just standing out there like Hank Hill?
No, as an alcoholic, I'd buy the beer and drink it in the parking lot. Come on, keep up.
We'll be right back. I need to take a look at Steele's tattoos a little closer.
Yeah.
I gotta see if there's any Slurpees in there.
Hey, now. But I will say this about Pepe. That man might have the best game on the show. Very smooth. He's very, very smooth.
He's too confident. That kitchen move?
know, bro.
The kitchen move was atrocious.
The kitchen move was strong. And he came in too hot there.
was
I agree.
bad.
I'm talking the one-on-one time.
The one-on-one time, yeah,
Very
he's
good with the
smooth.
one-on-one time.
Yeah.
And he's not too
Well, let's
aggressive. Like he's just
Let's take a look into Pepe's basketball history, if you'll indulge me,
okay.
because I know it.
Oh,
I did a lot of research on it.
All right. Well, here's what I think. I think that maybe he had a decent college career. I don't know if he made it to the
Already
NBA
wrong.
or if he got drafted. I figured he played overseas.
He played, I believe it was in Lithuania. I might be
Yeah,
wrong
I
about
figured
that
he
part.
played in one of the European leagues.
He went to Cal State Fullerton.
Okay. Oh, I knew
Played
that.
2 seasons.
All right.
Didn't record a stat in his sophomore year at all.
Okay.
And then stopped playing there, went to Lithuania or whatever. The only thing that you could find was there was no stats available. There was nothing there. But somebody did write an article where it was a career high 2 points and 4 rebounds. And he played for a year and a half. So the whole, and look, I know people lie on these shows all the time, but leaning on I'm a retired pro basketball player. Oh, also, he doesn't own a gym in LA. He just teaches.
That
at a
one I
gym in
figured.
LA.
I didn't think he owned a gym. But I do believe that he's an after-school program.
Yeah.
As
That
far
was
as the
fine.
pro basketball thing goes, I don't have an issue with it. He did technically play pro ball, so it is what it is. I'm just talking about when he spits game, I think he's decent at it. I think that he takes the cake so far as to all right, I can see.
Just need him to wear a hat.
Yeah.
I think if he wears a hat, because people were posting pictures that he was putting on Instagram, he looked hot.
That's what Dev said.
Yeah,
She
looked
goes,
hot.
Once I saw him in a hat, I was like, oh, I get it. I was like,
Put a
all right,
hat
fair
on.
enough.
Get that hair out of my face.
Yeah, but
Or go to Turkey. Just, figure it out.
oh yeah, if you think that if I go bald, I'm not going to go to Turkey
I'll
and
be
get a
right
hair
there with you,
transplant,
brother.
Yeah, we'll both
Even
go.
if I'm not going bald, I'll just go with you.
Appreciate it. We can document it for you guys. But yeah, just know that if I ever start to really go bald, I'm going to Turkey and getting my hair transplanted. But back to the spicy hot challenge. Spicy hot kiss and tell challenge. Whatever the fuck it was called. Everyone does their thing, and then Iris comes in and Iris goes. The reactions are very different from the girls in the house. They're not as ha-ha about this whole thing. The dudes, made some jokes here and there. But for the most part, they all took it in stride. Nobody was overly upset about the whole thing.
To an extent, I really don't blame them for being pissed off because it seems like every time we get bombshells, there's always a girl.
Oh, yeah.
You get 2 girls, you get 1 girl, you get 2 guys and a girl. It's like,
a good
why is
point.
there always a girl in there?
That's a good
The
point.
girls have their fun.
But what I was saying is, for the most part, I thought everyone was cool about it.
For the most part.
Except one. Because, and of course, first of all, more cracks in the foundation. You're seeing Jeremiah start to open up a little bit. He's getting a little more loosey-goosey because Iris walks in and he gives the tongue out, shaking his head. And of course, Huda's watching him like a hawk. She's like, did he do that? Did you just do that?
Uh-huh.
So I'm already worried about him. And then Iris gets to Jeremiah and he goes, this is the first time that we've seen him go all in with somebody that is not Huda. While that's happening, Huda literally leans all the
Towards
way
herself like the
so
Exorcist.
she is in Iris's face and says, "That's enough, bitch. You just met this woman who is just playing the game."
Which, by the way, that is now the second time that she's done that. Because she did that to Amaya when she came in during the baseball game.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Bad look.
Double standards. She just got made out with by 2 dudes. Mm-hmm. Jeremiah kept his mouth shut.
Yep. But you know why?
Although it was really funny when she was making out with the dudes. Of course, Ace is positioned right next to Jeremiah. And he's just cackling at him.
Dude, his reactions to the Jeremiah Hoda debacle is one of my favorite things.
I'm so happy that episode 12 happens the way that it did because it finally got to the point where he just says it out loud exactly what he, and I'm like,
satisfied.
Good. This wasn't just like, I dislike you guys are annoying me. This is like, I've got a different issue. I've got a serious issue with this. It's like, all right, cool.
I like that. I like that as well. But yeah, Huda's reaction sucks, which is just a bummer, honestly. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just not that fun to watch. And like,
but it's also like, Iris is going to be living with you guys in the same house. You guys are going to be getting ready every single day together. You're going to be sleeping in the same room.
Correct.
You're going to be around each other. Why is that your first impression? Because she's making out with the guy on a show that you're supposed to do that with? Like, it's so short-sighted because she'll immediately turn around and try to be your best friend right afterwards.
Yep.
It's like, you just called me a bitch because I was making out with the dude that you're coupled up with.
I was
you met a week
the
ago.
Game,
like, get over it.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. But the only other major revelation before we move on to, we've actually been pretty chronological, which is impressive because that was more or less
last
episode
week we were
9.
not. We're getting better at this.
Yeah, we're getting better. But the other thing that happens is Huda tells Nick about the baby,
which was fucking hilarious.
It was like a human baby.
This is the problem.
Well, hold on.
Who the fuck?
I'm a mommy.
Who says that? Say I have a daughter.
I knew that's what you're going to be like.
Lady, say you have a daughter. It's the most bizarre situation ever. You're going to sit down with like a 24-year-old and be like, you're 24 as well. I'm a mommy.
I'm a mommy. And she says like that soft voice like she's talking to a child. I'm a mommy. And he's like, yeah, mamacita. I was like,
he was not listening. He was not listening at all. He probably thought that this conversation was going to be so different. This is the issue that me and Jeremiah are going through. You're one of his best friends. I figured I would just run it by you. It's like, no, actually, I'm going to announce to you that I'm a mom.
I'm a mother.
He didn't see that shit coming. I'm a mother.
I'm a mommy.
I have a daughter. She's 4 years old. Nick was not paying attention, and you can tell that because towards the end of the conversation, he's like, when he finally, like, it sinks in, and he was actually very supportive. He was way more supportive than Jeremiah was.
Nick's reaction should have been Jeremiah's
Maybe
reaction.
Not the first, like, 2 sentences where he's asking for clarification, but once he finally got there, he's like, how old is he or she? She said she had a daughter.
She said daughter.
So did she, but yeah, Nick was not paying attention at all.
But that is what you would want Jeremiah's reaction to be. Oh my God, I love kids. That's awesome.
Nick fucking overdid her too.
I know. He was very
I actually have a kid as well. You know, I donated sperm. It's like, what?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. Which is nuts. I was like, okay.
It was so funny. It's like, maybe, people can probably, you don't know what's going on the internet right now, but people can probably figure out who your kid is.
Well, no. The way that he made it sound is that he donated to a couple that he knows.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying that people out there can find out who
you
the
were
kid
too
is.
descriptive in this.
So now we
situation.
can dox your kid.
People can probably dox us. People are
not
nuts
your kid,
online.
But that child.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I am glad that you caught that too. The mommy thing. I was like, what?
The mommy thing
fuck?
was insane.
Just say I'm a mother. I have a daughter. Because his reactions though were worth it. Because he literally goes, yeah, mamacita. I was like, Jesus, Nick, this guy. He's so good for this show though. But let's talk pancakes.
Let's talk pancakes. Do you like the pancakes overcooked or undercooked?
If I'm gonna pick one or the other, I would say slightly under.
I would say no protein.
I just can't. I fucking can't, bro.
But this is like, and I know, and obviously, as America watching a very toxic couple, a lot of couples go like this. This is incredibly toxic, but usually there's not cameras on your every move.
Yeah, I'm not saying I haven't been in this situation.
Yeah. But this is what's going on. And so when you see it and your immediate reaction is, fuck, Jeremiah, you got to get out of there.
Run.
He's going to do something in like an hour that's just as bad. So it just kind of goes in a cycle. And this is why we need them to just get away from each other and break up. They have to stay away from each other because this is only going to get worse.
No, and like, look.
And it does get worse before it gets to episode 12.
I can't wait. But like, neither of us are sitting here going, Jeremiah is the man.
No.
Right? I don't think he's a solid dude. But you said that he's hiding something. I'm not sure what he's up to. I haven't figured it out yet.
I've kind of changed my mind on him trying to be in a couple to win. I really do think that they're both just incredibly toxic.
Is that what it
I
is?
think that's all it is. I don't think that there's an ulterior motive here.
Okay. I don't know. I do think that there's something about him. And I said that in our first recap. I was like, I just don't trust the guy. I'm not really sure why. So if you feel like we're ganging up on Huda this episode, it's just because of episode 12. And Jeremiah
All of America
hasn't,
is, by the way, too. So
exactly. And like Jeremiah hasn't done a whole lot. He did something that we'll talk about, but not a ton to warrant. And that's like the worst part. Those little comments, and everyone that's been in a toxic relationship, like no matter what you do, there's always a comment, and it's like condescending, it's patronizing, it's all the things that you don't want to hear, and it makes like the hair on your neck stand. It's like, fuck.
She's
me.
also like, and I haven't seen him do it yet, so I can't say if he is or not. She's also using sex to get over a lot of things.
Dude, it's
Like
I was
every
saving
time
that for
that
a
they
little
fight.
bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going back to episode 8 when they're in the middle of a fight, and she goes, "Do you want to shower together later?" It's like,
Yeah.
no.
What are you doing?
Like even Jeremiah's like, no.
Do you know what that is?
Absolutely not.
That's called using sex as a weapon.
Yeah, and that's what she's
Weaponizing
doing.
sex.
Yeah.
I know, because anytime it gets tense, she brings it back to something sexual. Every single time. So that's a problem. That's
When
like,
she's standing over him, she's like, "How do you usually hold me? Grab my ass."
yeah,
It's like,
hold me
what
the way you hold me before. Like, dude, it's just too much.
Sometimes I do forget, and it is kind of funny. Like I had this realization last night before she pissed me off again, and I was like, "All right, never mind." She's 24. She's like
Okay.
a child. It's like, yeah, like some of your emotions are fucking crazy. So like that does check out, and then she'll do something, and I'll forget all about it
Yeah,
immediately.
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, it's just like, let's get back to the pancake thing. Like this man walks in with your breakfast. Your first response is no protein, which is just rude. And you say it with a smile. So you're like trying to act like it's a joke, but that's even worse. And then when you go to eat the pancake that he did bring you, it's ever so slightly undercooked. And then you complain about that and say, I'm not eating this. And then you go down to the kitchen and you say, I'm going to make him breakfast. And you said it in a nice way. Like, okay, you're going to flip the script. That's nice of you. Whilst doing that, Taylor steps in to make your pancake. Jeremiah's in the kitchen as well. You asked Taylor to make your pancake, Huda. So he makes you a pancake. How the fuck are you going to use that against Jeremiah? Her saying, like, any man should step in and make a pancake.
You're gonna let another man make a pancake for me?
If you, Shooter, were like over here, if we were recording early and you were making pancakes for Dev, you know what I would do?
Ask for one?
Can you make me one too?
Yeah.
It is
Put a
not.
little extra protein in it.
It is not emasculating for another man. Ew.
No, dude.
That's what I thought. You was like, that's fun.
No.
Gross.
Gross, dude.
That's what I thought you were saying.
No.
Yeah, it was.
No, I know you like a little protein powder in there.
I do. Anyway, sorry guys.
Powder, yeah.
Stop it. What was I saying? Oh, there's nothing emasculating about that.
No.
At all. The only people that would feel emasculated by that are like toxic incel red pill morons. It's like, no man makes breakfast for my girl. It's crazy, but it's crazier for her to expect, because they sit down and talk about it. She expects him to understand where she's coming from. It's like, it's not about the pancakes. It's like, what is it about? What is it about?
I have no idea what it's about at this point. We've lost the plot.
I've lost all the plot.
We have lost the plot, and we are like 3-4 episodes away from, I feel bad saying this, but from a fake pregnancy. Like, I would not be surprised if she's like, I'm late.
Oh, God, I hope that doesn't happen.
You've been here for 7 days.
You'll see a Jeremiah-shaped hole in the wall, like a cartoon, like running out of the fucking place.
Oh, God. And for everything to happen last night as it did on Father's Day, whew, God.
Oh, that was Father's Day.
Stepfather.
Dude, the one thing I want to ask you, because her complaint to Jeremiah, as she says ever so lovingly, I want you to do more. Do you think Jeremiah is doing enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
At
cool.
this point,
me too.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think her example of watching everybody else do things she doesn't use a good example. Like if we
No.
go through what's going on, haven't really seen Nick and Sierra do a whole lot. Ace is currently coupled up with Amaya, but he's doing a lot for Shelly, who he's not coupled up with. Austin is freaking the fuck out and just trying to talk to anybody that'll hear him.
Yeah.
Hannah and Charlie are just happy, just making out in bed. They're just doing their thing at this point. And Taylor and Alandria, there's a clear issue there. So what are you talking about?
Whoa.
At this point, Taylor's not doing dick for Alandria.
Whoa.
He starts in this episode where he's like, I got to step up my game.
Yeah, because Jalen comes in.
But when they're talking at this point, none of the other couples are doing a whole lot. They're not going above and beyond.
Well, that's the other thing. The things that we're seeing that are above and beyond, quote unquote, is because they're trying to win somebody over, or they're trying to get over that hump. Like you guys, self-proclaimed, have surpassed that.
Yep.
So you should be in a place where you're just comfortable being around each other. And like I agree, not with them, but I agree that it's important in relationships to still do the little cute shit. But it's been 7 fucking days, and the shit you compared it to are other people struggling because they're afraid their partner either is into somebody else or they're trying to get somebody else's partner.
You guys are talking about moving in together.
So why are you... Oh, bro.
Sharing your location.
That was... The pillow talk... the pillow talk is crazy.
It's so funny.
Like,
It's the best.
at what point do you roll over and go, I need to get out of this bed?
That's what and that's where you've kind of realized that Jeremiah is also incredibly toxic. Because a normal person, even if you had you got your little pettiness here and there, if you hear that and don't immediately say, I need to get out of this,
He defends it.
you defend it, you're clearly a little toxic.
He's definitely toxic. So I'm again, not trying to put it all on Huda. It's just watching all the shit she's doing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. But we have tension elsewhere as well. Because since Iris came into the house, obviously a lot of gentlemen are trying to court her. Ace being pretty much single, him and Amaya aren't really anything. He goes and has a conversation with her. And stunned that they really hit it off.
Yeah.
Again, the stuff he's saying to her, it's the same.
I really think it's performative. I just
It could be.
simply think it is because nothing really happened.
It seems like a
In
very
the converse, it was very surface level,
right.
Which, a lot of people have said that. I think it was this episode that surface level came up a lot. It was incredibly surface level. It didn't strike me as a moment where Ace gets to sit there by himself and be like, what just happened?
But he did.
But he did. And I didn't really get it. I just simply don't understand
We missed
it.
a lot.
I don't think we missed a lot because I feel like anything important they're going to show us.
Yeah.
I think that they probably cut that a little bit for sure. But it didn't seem like anything. It's not like you guys really hit it off. You didn't ask her anything. She said she's a fucking chess master.
That's sick.
Not one person. She was talking to Austin when she said that, and Austin's like,
Ace said that he's into that.
cool. And
Ace
then
said that he's into that.
Ace has said that he's into a lot of things. He also said that he read, what was the book that Sierra brought up?
The
Alchemist.
The Alchemist.
He's like, fucking love that book. One of my
great
favorite
book.
books. It's like, you don't know shit about
I
The
don't think
Alchemist.
you've read that book.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, Iris is doing the right thing. Like she came in and a lot of people are going to come into the house and say, I'm going to explore all the connections. I'm not really here to obey other people's couples. I'm here to find out if I can find someone that I can link up with. Cool. Great. Everybody says that. She actually does though. She tries to talk to everybody. She has a sit down with pretty much everybody. And it seems like she's kind of just weighing her options at this point. And the Ace thing didn't really stand out to me. It was just weird behavior by Ace.
I don't know. Maybe maybe it's just what Shelly's afraid of.
Yeah.
Because this is the moment where, in this episode, Shelly starts to get a little nervous about Ace. Because he's been, like, full throttle for her. He told her, like, the episode prior, I'm really gonna show you.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna show you, like, how I feel and, like, that I care, this, that, the other. As soon as somebody else comes in the house, he put that same kind of attention on Iris. And I don't know if it was episode 10 or 12 where he sits down with Shelly and says, hey, just to let you know, like, I'm pursuing somebody else. Like, me and Iris had a good conversation.
I think that was the beginning of episode 12.
Okay.
Episode 12 was a mess, but
It was in the best way. But in my head, I'm having Shelly's reaction. It's like, whoa,
exactly.
dickhead. Like,
Yeah.
someone new comes in and immediately you're like, hey, exploring.
and it's tough too because he does it in like a sort of like a gaslighty way.
Yeah.
Where he starts it off by saying, we are so open with each other. I really appreciate how open
Sets
we
it
are.
up, yeah.
So he sets it up in such a nice way that it's like you can't react in
But
a negative
she had
way.
a good response. She's like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, cool.
Yeah, of course. And I think that where we are currently is you've got two ends of the spectrum. Ace is there specifically, he's going to talk to every single girl that comes through, and he's going to see if there's anything there, which, you can appreciate because that's how the game's played.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. And then on the other side, you've got Jeremiah and Hoda, who are so closed off, and they're not even appealing to anybody else at this point. You don't even want to get involved.
Jeremiah's doors.
Jeremiah's now starting to open, of course, a little bit at this moment. You got to be somewhere in the middle there, I think, where like, yeah, if you really hit it off with somebody, just do that. And that's what Ace should be doing with Shelly. That's why I feel like there's ulterior motives where he's just got her there. Like, I can potentially couple up with her when I need to.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to play the game in the meantime. And, you can agree or disagree with how he's doing it. She's not. I think she's
not going to do that shit.
She's going to lose patience pretty quickly here.
Yeah. And rightfully so, because she has options. Mm-hmm. She's got Austin on the back burner, which, again, the chemistry between those two is non-existent. I'm sorry.
Just goofy.
Yeah.
And he's so goofy that it's like, it's hard to take it seriously.
It's just, let's go do some meditation. Grab your bow and shoot it.
Yeah.
I learned this from a shaman.
I think Shelly just appreciates Austin. She probably likes hanging out with him, and that's
these silly,
much
goofy, fun times.
Yep.
Which is fine, but she's not looking for a silly, goofy, fun time. She's looking for love, god damn it. But let's get into, because we've miraculously, once again, chronologically, we're at like episode 12 now.
We're doing a great job.
Episode 10 was great, but it was kind of the build-up. You're seeing
At the end of episode 10 is when they announced that we, America,
get to vote
with who the Bombshells couple up with.
Which is awesome.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
So next time, and I'm promising to this, I'm going to get Steele to download the Love Island app.
Yeah.
And he's going to vote the next time. I'm going to keep him updated.
I will.
Yeah.
Because I want to be involved. Yep. Maybe we'll do like an Instagram live.
You do until, something happens that you don't expect. And then you're like, ooh, that's my fault. That's why. So last night I felt really bad. Tonight I'm like, whatever.
Oh, really? You felt bad?
Last night I felt really bad for the
interesting.
results. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, let's work our way to those results. Let's start with the wood chop challenge.
Yeah, why not?
Because that's a good place to start. I don't really understand the game. Like I do, but like
I don't think you really need to understand any of these games.
Like baseball was ridiculous.
Yep.
It made no sense. It worked, I suppose. But this one's similar. It's like you pick a branch off the tree. It says like
it's a shady
who's
question.
the most uninterested person in somebody, and then you shoot somebody with the wood chipper, I think it's called the woody chipper.
The woody chipper.
Yeah, penis joke.
Yep.
And then you have to, I didn't understand the log thing. You have to get across the log, but nobody did.
Apparently the log thing was a death trap.
Watching Ace jump spread like that was...
hurt me.
Right? You didn't
really
have a reaction, or do you think he was playing it cool?
Playing it cool, for sure.
You can't land like
There's
that.
no way.
Unscathed.
Even if you like lean back as a dude, like that's tailbone.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing.
There's
nothing nice about that. But we do get Paige DeSorbo as a little cameo
for the weirdest amount of time ever.
So she shows up in a full suede outfit in the middle of Fiji. Got to be hot.
I would imagine.
Really hot. And it also apparently took them a very long time to film this. The reason why Paige left. So Ian, the narrator, just kind of chimes in. Paige is left, so I'm just going to take over from here.
Yeah.
This challenge took so long, and it got to the point where that fucking log was such a death trap that people were falling off and people kept getting hurt.
When they landed, it looked painful.
Hannah actually got really hurt. So if you look later, she's got a big bandage on her arm. Somebody said, and I don't know if this part's true, but apparently she had gotten her arm cut, like lodged in the log while it was spinning, and that's what cut her. So then they had to do like medical attention and all of that, and it took a while to get them like kind of restarted and cleaned up, because I'm assuming there was probably some blood. They have to clean everything up. At that point, Paige had to go. So they started refilming like 2 or 3 hours afterwards.
Oh my God. All right, that makes more
sense. And they
sense.
still had like 3 dudes to go. So somebody had picked Hannah to like jump on the log. That's why they stopped showing the log. They only showed like 2 or 3 of them.
Okay.
Because it was just a complete and utter disaster.
Well, it looked like that. I mean, it's a spinning log covered in water.
Yeah, and the fucking log was spinning fast.
That was wild.
Like, you don't have to spin the log. Just it can spin as it moves, and you make it wet.
Look, there's no real stakes in the log anyway. No. It's just a chance to make out with somebody. So what's the fucking point? Let's not put wipeout obstacles on.
But like, I don't know. You could probably think of something better. Like a foam pit that's full of like brown cubes, and you can be like, this is where all the wood goes. I don't fucking
know. You gotta find the gold and
and they're not gonna find the gold. They're just gonna make out.
Yeah.
The funniest thing to happen in this entire situation
Poor Alandria.
poor Alandria.
4 times. That's tough.
They must have not been shuffling any of them. They're just
I
like
thought-
putting it back in the same spot.
I thought it was a bit. I thought
I
all
hope
of them
it was
said
a bit.
Alandria.
I hope it was a bit.
I don't think it was. I'm saying because my theory was all of the Bears said
Alandria.
Beavers,
Yeah.
said Alandria. But they didn't. There was other people.
Didn't
in there.
because Sierra did get picked at one point. She was the only one who did the fake situation. I think she was with Taylor, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And they were just kind of like banging on the walls. Everybody else leaned into it, including good old Jeremiah.
Thank God, though. You know, like I was fine with that. I'm fine with him finally playing the games. I thought it was so lame when we would get into these moments and he's like, I can't. I'm with Huda, but you guys aren't closed off yet. So that pissed me off. So I'm glad. And you can also tell, again, through his reactions, his body language with Huda is wild.
It is wild.
He leans away from her. He doesn't look her in the eye anymore until when? She gets sexual and boop, he's locked back in.
Yeah.
She says some shit and he's like, oh, he giggles and like looks at her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. But Jeremiah gets picked, obviously, and he goes through the whole thing. He gets Alandria as well. Alandria's confessional is hilarious. She's like, I just expect, we're going to go in here. There's a lot of people shipping Nick and Alandria, which I can see.
That.
They do have a lot of good chemistry. That would be fun. But when it comes to Jeremiah and Alandria, she's not expecting anything.
She goes, oh, shit.
Right into it. Oh, shit. Very audibly. And the best part is the door's broken. It doesn't shut anymore. We're done with this door. Somebody banged on it too hard. Huda can see right in, and she acts like she didn't want to see it.
No, you
Walked
can't.
all the way over
Thank
there.
you.
All the way over there to go take a peek in
She's
there.
hiding in a bush looking at this. It's not like it swung open and she had a direct line. She walked all the way down to watch that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then her response to that is because, again, Jeremiah, he calls Huda out to do the thing with Jalen, I believe. Or was it Pepe? It was one of those guys.
I don't remember, yeah.
It's one of the two. And her response is, I'm going to show you what you're not getting. And then rides him.
Yep.
Is this before or after they boinked, by the way? They boinked in between 10 and 12, I thought. No?
I think they boinked. Yeah, because the night. Yeah, so we already missed the boinking.
Let's talk about the boinking.
We lost the chronological.
Let's talk about the public boinking.
Mm-hmm.
With the lights
Night
on.
before.
Well, he says some weird shit. He's like, do whatever you want until they turn the lights off. I was like, oh
no.
Wait until they turn the lights off to do whatever you
Yeah.
want. Or go in soul ties. Go somewhere else to do these shenanigans. But no.
I don't think they're allowed to leave the bedroom as a couple.
Unless you're ace sleeping.
Yeah, Ace, they're like, whatever.
Yeah, go on. But that, and if you look and think, we got to think back because we're logging all of this info to use at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
You think back, all right? He said something in like the second or third episode. He was like, yeah, you never let me sleep. And he was being serious.
Yep.
And then she's like, what? And then he laughed it off. But I could tell that's one of the things that annoys him.
Uh-huh.
If you watch the night vision cameras every fucking night, there's nights that, you'd see a couple smooching, fooling around a little bit. Then the following night, they're racked out. They're sleepy. Yeah. Huda is on top of Jeremiah every single night.
Mm-hmm.
And so this night, as the lights are on,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes, oh, this is crazy. And I'm like, what's going on under those covers?
Yeah. And Huda reveals what's going on
They blinked.
to the whole group of girls that are also sleeping in the same room. I have a confession. It's really bad. I don't want to tell you guys.
Then why'd you bring it up?
We had sex last night.
We blinked.
What? With the lights on.
Yeah.
What?
Gross.
Gross.
I was
Awful.
right next to you.
Also, I'm sure everybody in that room is rolling their eyes because you probably already had sex before this.
Multiple people did roll their eyes.
Yeah.
Like if you watch, that's my favorite part about the camera panning around the room.
Yeah.
You just get people's reactions. Sierra rolls her eyes at it. Like multiple people Alandria rolls her eyes at it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many little things like that. And that's what just shows you what a toxic couple this is. Because when Jeremiah comes in and brings her breakfast that morning in episode 12, I believe, she's like, oh, love you, bye. Oh, God, not love you. It's like, you didn't do that by accident.
Nope.
That wasn't like a oops Freudian slip. You wanted to say that. And you wanted to say that in front of everybody.
So bad.
It's so frustrating.
But they're going to get their apocalypse soon.
They sure are. But
sure
before,
are.
I don't want to get there until we cover
We've got
everything.
Hannah and Charlie.
Let's talk Hannah and Charlie.
Sets the mood.
Because Pepe has kind of moved in on Hannah a little bit. And Hannah's open to it because, look, he's a handsome fella when he's got a hat on. He's a good smoocher, smooth talker. So she's excited about this proposition. And so she's starting to hang out with him a little bit. They go into Charlie and Hannah's spot, which was fucked. The speakeasy. Their first smooch.
Yep.
Now, Charlie, this shows you I do think he was actually interested. Because his response was petty and stupid, but he was really hurt.
He was really hurt. I actually didn't think that it was that big of a deal that he started talking to Iris.
I didn't either at all.
He was just goofing her. Everybody's talking. They're all sitting up in bed. They're all talking. Nick and Alandria talk every night. That's why people think that they should ship. Watching that, I'm like, that's not that big of a deal.
I didn't have an issue with it.
She goes to bed saying, that's so fucking petty. It's like, you made out with this guy. So she thinks that she's exonerated because she sat down with Charlie and said, look, I want to just clear the air. I want to be honest. We did kiss. Okay, cool. So he's allowed to go explore connections,
100%.
or you're allowed to go explore connections, but he's not. That's what I'm getting.
The petty, stupid part was the Amaya conversation.
Yeah,
that was dumb.
He regretted that immediately.
Instantly. But no, with the Iris convo, I was like, you can't get mad at him.
Nope.
You were just straddling Pepe in the speakeasy. So this is fair game.
Yep.
And yeah, he is only doing it because he feels upset.
The timing, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. But then I fell in love with these two when they talked about it. Because they were in soul ties chatting it up, and, you know, she's a little upset, and he's kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Like, you did this. And then they both just start laughing.
They both started laughing. You could see, like, they came to a good situation where they both said, fuck yesterday, let's just leave it there. We're going to leave it there. We're going to move on. We both did dumb shit. He even took accountability for talking to Iris, which we just agreed wasn't that big of a deal. But she making out with Pepe, that gets exonerated. We're good. We're all right. I'm so happy that we're clean. You can see the relief on Charlie's face. He's happy. Hannah's happy that she came clean because she told the truth and she feels like she's in a good place. It was all set.
It was
We're
all
in
set.
Such a good place until after the logs.
And then they're smooching with Pepe again.
And then we're smooching with Pepe once again.
Correct. And that sends Charlie into a little bit of a tizzy. So his response is to go talk up Amaya.
Bad move.
Awful move.
Should have went to Iris.
He would still be on the show if he hadn't gone to talk to Amaya.
Yeah. Well, this is where, sort of.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, that one doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Save it. Save it.
Sitting down with Amaya, you could tell he's talking. He's barely even looking at her. He's so nervous. He feels like he's losing Hannah.
That's all it is.
Hannah's gone, and he doesn't know what to do. He's afraid that he's just going to get the boot. He's going to go home. He's frantically looking around. He finds Amaya, sits down with her because he knows that her and Ace aren't going to work. And Amaya's really good friends with Hannah. Best friends, you could say, because they've known each other for 2 days.
Mad respect to Amaya.
Amaya got so much respect here because she knew exactly what it was. She clocked it. Charlie felt it as soon as she clocked it. He's like, fuck.
She started crying.
She cries at the drop of a dime. This was such a bad call. It was such a bad move, but in the grand scheme of things, it actually seemed to be okay.
Yeah, and like
because of the way that it was handled by Amaya.
100%.
Amaya, this is the first thing that she's done where I'm like, all right, maybe the, psychological warfare going on between you and Ace is finally getting to a point where you can move on, and we'll actually get to see where you are and see who you are, because otherwise all we know is Ace is playing like mind games with you, and it's probably fucking you up, and I feel bad about that. But seeing this, I'm like, all right, maybe Amaya's kind of cool.
Between this and her reactions at the end of the episode, she's one of my favorites now.
Yeah.
Because that shit made me laugh so hard. But you're right. Like, she even clocked why he was doing it. And then he's like, I'll take the L on this one. She was cool. She's like, don't do that. Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Now, she clearly held on to something from that conversation.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
But let's keep trucking. So now we know everybody stands. But after this moment, Hannah and Charlie sit down.
Well, Hannah and Amaya sit down first.
Well, yeah. And then I thought, I'm like, wow, Charlie's really fucked. But Hannah took
it so well.
Because she was like, this is on me. I'm the problem causing him to do these things, which is also credit to Amaya for explaining it the way she did.
She explained it such a good way. This is a girl's girl. This is like through and through. I'm your friend. I'm telling you what's going on. By the way, I clocked it immediately. He's only doing it because you and Pepe are getting along, because you and Pepe are kissing, and he feels really vulnerable.
Yes.
And he doesn't want to lose you.
Yep.
There was nothing romantic here. It got shut down immediately, and he felt terrible.
Yep.
Hannah has an epiphany. Pepe is every guy that I've ever dated. It's so surface level. Once again. It's sexual only. I'm lusting after him. But me and Charlie, we connect on a deeper level. That was such a weird little sequence of events. I'm like, whoa, all right. She goes to talk to Charlie. Charlie's still distraught. He's all over the place. He's like, yeah, all right, we can go over here. And she's like, look, let me go first. I'll be quick about this.
You don't have to make it quick.
Like, you don't have to make it quick. It's okay. Whatever. Like, he's still like, this is going to be bad.
Yeah, I'm about to get torn apart.
She's going to tell me that she has more of a connection with Pepe. Nope.
She's disgusted because I hit on her friend.
Yeah, she had an epiphany.
But here's the most important thing, listeners. When that conversation with Hannah and Amaya happened, what happened within that conversation, okay? That is so fucking important to take with you to the end of this episode. Mm-hmm. Because, again, they worked through that moment together.
Yep.
Hannah proclaimed how she felt about Charlie and then ran to Charlie to solve.
And Amaya sat there with a big smile on her face like, good.
Yes.
I'm happy I could help.
Okay, so we all are on the same page with that. All right, cool, because now we're going to get to America's recoupling.
Yep.
Which, just chef's kiss. What a great idea.
Unbelievable. It's the first time they've done this.
I know. I did know that.
It was so goddamn good.
It hit so hard.
God, them finding out that the Bombshells are going to get paired up because America's voting and you guys have no say in the matter, they were freaking
Jaws dropped.
Freaking out. Amaya started crying immediately.
So let's start with the recoupling. The obviously the newbies are up there. We've got
Jalen first.
Jalen, Pepe, and then Iris is last. Mm-hmm. So 2 dudes are about to lose their, what do you call them, girlfriends?
Yeah, we'll call them girlfriends.
Okay,
sure.
So 2 dudes are about to lose their ladies. Up first is Jalen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jalen's up there, and I fucking knew it. And look, I will hold on to Taylor and Alandria until the day I die.
Yeah, of course.
Because I love them together. I do think that there's something there. And I knew that this was going to happen, and I was upset when it happened. But America decided that Jalen and Alandria need to be together.
That's who I voted for.
You fucker. Uh-huh. You're part of this?
So
I hate you.
Well, wow. Yeah, because Taylor didn't make an effort.
We're broken up now.
Taylor is not really that interested in Alandria. He's interested in
I'm not that interested in you.
That's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, you don't.
Look, I knew we were going to disagree on this. That was the vote that made the most sense.
I didn't know you.
Jalen had no connection with. He didn't even try to connect with anybody else in the house. There is no other option. What are we going to do? Just stick him with like Amaya because whatever.
There was a whatever recoupling in this moment.
It's the next one. This one was cut and dry. I don't think if we had the numbers, which they haven't released them for whatever reason, I don't know why. If we had the numbers of who was picked, that one would have probably been in the 90th percentile.
The last pick, I would have.
The last pick is way higher. But this one was cut and dry. There was no other option.
And like seeing Taylor, like he was so bummed, and he gets up to the front.
It truly is like a little too late.
I understand, but I also disagree because of the conversations that they have. When Alandria's like, I really appreciate that you got to know me, like the mental side first. Because what? Because Jalen's a little too physical too quickly.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
He's physical in the weirdest way possible.
He's gently
like,
physical.
He's very gently and very like
respectful.
Yeah. So like
can I kiss you on the cheek?
It's a shame too because like we even said that when the Bombshells came in. I'm like, pick hotter guys. He was getting roasted. Him and Pepe both were getting roasted online. And then somebody like picked up some pictures of him, and he just seems like a sweet guy.
He's a sweet guy.
And his interactions with Alandria, like I don't think it's very romantic. I don't think there's a whole lot there. You know, we'll see tonight. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Alandria is gonna find somebody perfect for her. I hope.
Taylor, she already found him.
It's not Taylor. She's gonna find somebody perfect, and Jalen's not it. He's a placeholder for now.
No, but I will say he's a very sweet man.
He's a very sweet man.
I do really like Jalen a lot. So
this is when doubt starts to creep in my mind. I'm like, oh fuck, what did we do? Because we just went through the gauntlet with Hannah and Charlie, and we finally got to a place, and it was one of the nicest moments I've seen on reality TV.
It seemed so genuine.
It was such a nice come together, and I'm like, oh god, oh no.
My stomach was in my
This
shorts.
was a throwaway vote for me. I threw it to Amaya. Okay, I was like, you know what? Amaya wants out of the relationship. Good. I don't really care about Pepe.
That's what I was hoping for.
I was like, I don't really want that. But the way that this evolved, when you vote on Friday night. We didn't see the whole beginning part of Sunday night's episode.
That's a good point.
All you saw was Hannah and Charlie. Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of that.
That's fucking
We haven't seen anything from Hannah and Charlie. We just see that, yeah, I guess they're happy over there, but like, show us a little bit more. We don't really have any context. Oh shit, she's making out with Pepe. I guess they're not that close. I understand why America voted for Pepe to be with Hannah at that point.
Yeah.
But if we had the vote before that, or we got to vote live right then and there, that's a different situation.
They should do it live.
They should, but they didn't. And actually, I appreciate it now. Last night, I was like,
oh
God.
I do too.
Right now, I'm like, this is one of the best moments in TV.
I agree, because here's what needs to happen in this house. And I recognize that, even being a new Love Island watcher, we need more chaos.
Yes.
Right? We need it to start to crash out a little bit more than we have previously seen. And that's what something like this is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the same reaction. I had time to sit on it and think about it for a little bit.
As soon as Jalen and Alandria went on, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to happen.
I know. And look, Charlie gets up. It's really sad. We're all bummed out.
I actually really love that they don't get up right away. They just have to scoot over
Sit
a couple
next
inches.
to the guy. I know. And then fucking Jalen put his arm around Alandria.
Yeah, that's like, oh, that's tough.
Oh, man.
This one was brutal because I think even Pepe was like, ugh.
I think so, too. Because he seems like a nice guy as well.
And then he was really like, ugh.
And he's like, this sucks.
This is the worst situation ever. But yeah, that is such a little funny detail.
I know, dude.
You can't get up until Ariana tells you to get up.
It was so tough to see. And so Charlie gets up, and like, you can tell he's distraught because he keeps winking at all the guys, like trying to, like, it's cool, Mike. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like, he winked.
He's like, we're still going to be fine because to be fair, like the next recoupling is girl's choice.
Yeah. And at this point,
he's like, I just have to grin and bear it for a little while. She'll be able to pick me.
Yeah. And we all thought that was going to happen because we didn't know that someone's getting whacked.
There's something happening before that, which is what America wanted the most.
And this is the most important one. And hats off to you guys for all coming together and doing this, because we get to Iris. Now, obviously, the front runner for most people would think Ace.
Yeah.
But you got a bunch of petty people with cell phones involved. And we don't give a shit about that.
A lot of people who hate Jeremiah and Hoda and just want to see the crash out.
I think that's 99.9% of people, which is why this went the way it did. Because Iris, drumroll please, and Jeremiah. I laughed so hard when this happened.
The reactions from the castmates were so good.
Ace is cracking up laughing. Multiple people are laughing, which is really funny. Other people are just like jaw on the floor, don't know what to say.
Landry's was more like a, oh fuck, like you guys are so messy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a bit of a nervous laugh, but like Charlie and, Charlie and Taylor looked at each other and just started dying laughing.
You
like,
can't not.
You can't not.
Like, it was so
Huda's
rattling.
reaction was,
Huda,
what the fuck?
yeah, what the fuck?
Us? Why?
She pretty much said fuck you to everybody that's watching the show, which is really funny. And then she gets up, and every moment that goes by, it looks like her soul has left her body.
Yep.
Because
It's only getting worse.
that's the whole thing. Because after all of that goes down, and we got 3 people standing up there, and I knew something was up because Ariana kept saying you're single and vulnerable. It's like, something's going to happen. And sure enough, someone's getting voted off the island tonight. But holy shit, they make them stand up and point at who they want to go and say why. I was like, that's so fucking mean.
Yep. This is not new. This they've done before.
That's ruthless.
So this one is everybody who was not recoupled gets to vote.
Yeah.
And you have to stand up and give a speech and tell us who you're voting and why.
And I forget who the first one was.
First one up was Shelly, I believe.
Was it Shelly?
I think they went like kind of around this way.
Shelly voted for Charlie.
Shelly voted for Charlie. Shelly and Alandria both voted for Charlie. So that one tells me a little bit different because in my mind, I'm thinking, one, primarily, you cannot vote Huda out right now.
Just for the show's sake.
For the show's sake, we have to have her there.
We need the fallout.
While Jeremiah is sleeping in bed with Iris. We need to have her there to try to convince Jeremiah that they need to go sleep out in the daybed where Ace is. That's what she's going to do. She's 1,000% going to tell him, we're still in a couple. I don't give a shit what America says. We're still together. You'll come sleep with me out here. That's what's going to happen. She's going to try to pull every trick in the book to make that happen. If she got voted out last night, I would have been beside myself.
Yeah, you need it.
It would have been so short-sighted. And there's so many people online. Like you posted something earlier talking about stuff. a lot of people commenting and a lot of people on all the TikToks and Twitter talking about how they needed Huda out.
No.
That people wasted their votes.
I
They
didn't
should have
say
voted.
that.
No,
I
you didn't.
said
I know
we
you
need
didn't.
her.
Other people in the comments were talking about how they wanted Huda out. It's no, that's so short-sighted.
Yes.
It is so short-sighted. This is a mini crash out. We can get a much bigger crash out. And I know how terrible that sounds. But by God, is it so fucking entertaining.
But if we're talking to you and you voted the same thing we did. So you're terrible too. We'll all be terrible together.
We can all be terrible together. We wanted to see this. In my mind, I think the logical choice would have been Taylor, just because he hasn't like really made a connection with her. He just started a couple days ago. They've been together since day one. It's pretty clear.
I thought the clear choice was Charlie only because up until this episode, we didn't really see that connection with those two.
Charlie fucking begging them when he starts talking,
I felt
when they're all crying because they have to vote somebody out, and Amaya's just like howling,
so
and
funny,
Ace is
dude.
giving her a side eye, which was a great gif. Charlie jumps up there and I'm like, is he going to do a little speech about like, look, whoever you guys vote, it's cool. We still love you.
No, he was like,
you guys are in a bad spot. He's like, please, Hannah and I just got into a good
made
spot.
a connection with her.
This is so brutal.
I made a connection with her. Something happened that's never happened to me before.
Maya thinks that these people are going to die right in
Maya's
front of
like, we don't want
Maya's
to.
like, if I'm the last one, do I have to shoot them myself? Like, I can't
Funny as
do it.
shit when Ariana's trying to explain the rules and she's like, we don't want to.
Dude, she is so fucking
She's
good.
amazing. What a 180, by the way.
Yeah, she is so goddamn funny. But obviously, we're going left to right. We already know Alandria and Shelly, which that's what I started to talk about, and then we kind of got side-railed. When it comes to what I was thinking, which is Taylor didn't really make a connection, Alandria and Shelly are both saying, or I'm sorry, Alandria didn't get the vote. My bad. Shelly and Sierra
There you go.
voted for
Charlie.
For Charlie. They are more privy to this information than others. So if you're listening to Charlie and you know that like that all just went down and they're in a good spot, maybe there is more to Taylor and Alandria that we're not really seeing.
Hey now.
Because they are talking. Maybe Alandria is interested, or maybe she is.
I think she is. I think she wants him to be more interested.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. But that was one thing that, like, now that I'm sitting on it a day later, I'm starting to think, like, oh, maybe we missed a couple of things here or there.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good way to think about it. But Nick gets up and very gently explains why he's voting for Huda. Because she came into this whole thing closed off. She's not exploring. That's the whole name of the game. So I have to vote for Huda. If I'm Jeremiah and your best friend on this show,
who just found out that she's a mommy,
correct, is voting her
and he's an
out,
uncle.
Like, what does that tell you?
Nick is an uncle, and he just kicked her out.
That should tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't even second guess going back with Huda because your boy just was like, yeah, she needs to leave.
Yeah. We'll find that out tonight.
Now, Ace goes in.
I'm waiting for this.
And it was kind of, I'm assuming what most of us wanted to say to Huda. Because he just doesn't pull any punches.
Very
He's
well
like,
said.
You know, I think that she's full of shit. I don't think that this is the way you do this. She just came in and it's the safe route, so she just walled herself off from everybody. He calls it bullshit in front of her and says, Huda, literally, if you look at her, her soul has left her body at this point.
When he
She
said
is not
bullshit,
there.
it was like, damn, there's the
know.
nail. There's
It
the nail
was.
in the coffin where it's like, fuck. Even if you're not going home, that sucks.
Well, what just happened and why, to anyone out there that thought Huda should go home, why she needs to stay is because it's not just Jeremiah, Iris, and Huda now. Now it's Nick. Now it's Ace. Now it's anybody else that made a face. You know she was scanning that room for reactions.
Yep.
Everyone that laughed after that happened.
Yep.
All of those things are going to be in play now, and we have to have her reaction to those. We would be distraught, and this season would flop without it.
It definitely would. And look, we need like another week or two. At some point, if she goes home, we might get like to a point where we've just exhausted all resources.
Perhaps.
And there's just not enough for us to go
Nothing
off
left
of
to do
anymore. But when the votes really break down, and we'll get to Amaya in a second, Austin, they didn't confer.
Fucking Austin.
They didn't confer beforehand to figure anything out. Austin's just like,
Austin shit his pants.
his the longest speech ever. I still think that like his vote's
speech
fine.
doesn't track.
His speech didn't make any sense. And he was just going on and on and on. And then he even did like the pause for dramatic effect at the end, which was very funny.
Yeah.
But like his reasoning, I have no idea what he was saying. When he gets to Taylor, I'm like, that kind of makes sense. All right, yeah, he's made a connection. That's okay based on what we've just seen from Charlie. Like, I'm still vulnerable watching Charlie and Hannah get after it. And I'm like, you know what? If Taylor goes home, that kind of makes sense. I'm all right with that.
I would be sad.
But then when the guys switch, I didn't expect Nick to stand up and vote for Huda. And I'm like, oh God, what's going on? Are they going to send her home right now? No way. We get to Amaya. After all we just saw with Hannah and Charlie and Amaya's role in that whole situation.
She brought them together.
She got them back together. She put them over the speed bump and got them back into each other's arms in a better way than they were a day or two ago. In a point where, holy shit, are Charlie and Hannah just adorable?
Are they the number one couple?
Are they going to stay forever? Because they seem to actually really like each other.
I love them together.
This could be perfect. She does a full fucking left turn and votes for fucking Charlie.
I was baffled.
When we had that conversation with Charlie and Amaya, and she approached it the way that she did, where she sat there and said, look, I know why you're doing this. I'm going to have a conversation with Hannah about all of this. It seemed in that moment that she understood Charlie and they were friends. They were close enough where even if he was vulnerable for some reason, in my mind, I'm like, Amaya could save him just because she likes him and she wants to root for him and Hannah. No. Absolutely. I don't know what the hell happened.
That was so...
I don't even want to call it a panic pick.
Well, like originally, I forgot about the timeline because I was so rattled by the Huda thing. I was like, oh my God. So I forgot about the in-depth conversation to bring them back together. When I sat down to think about it, it took me a long time to process this episode. Because so much happened. But when I had time to really sit and debrief, I was like, holy shit, you just ruined your friendship with Hannah.
Yep.
You actively brought these two closer together and then you voted him out. Like that makes absolutely no sense to me. And I don't even know, maybe she was so rattled by the whole thing that she forgot about that and just thought about the fact that he hit on her. Like maybe that was where
her
it went.
speech was about recent events.
Right, and that's my point.
But you left out the most recent events.
You bringing them together. It made no sense. And then you have to see Hannah sobbing, like uncontrollably sobbing.
Yeah, it was
Pepe
brutal.
is so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That man doesn't want to be part of this anymore. And Amaya, I don't know how you come back from that with your friendship with Hannah.
No idea.
See a picture in like the scenes from next episode, and she's crying with the photo booth picture.
One thing that you might not know.
What?
You can leave with the person that just got booted. So Hannah can leave with Charlie.
I would love that.
I don't know if she will
want them
because
to
they
get
do.
married.
They're picking up tonight right where they left off. So we're going to have to see Hannah and Charlie crying again. But Charlie going and walking forward and asking if he can go be with her. Ariana was crying.
Ariana, so you can do whatever you want.
Ariana commented on an Instagram, like the Love Island Instagram or whatever. They posted like a little bit of a video for it. Ariana commented and she's like, as soon as I left, I was sobbing.
Well, you see when he's like, can I go over there?
Yeah.
She's like, do whatever you want.
Whatever. Yeah.
Literally do
I got to get out of here.
Go propose to her.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought after watching them early on, I was like, yeah, they're cute, whatever. I love them.
Yeah.
I want them to be together forever.
That was the collateral damage. We got what we wanted. America got what they wanted with Huda and Jeremiah.
At what cost?
The witchcraft takes a toll. Something happened. Something had to be sacrificed. And we didn't know what it was.
It's like the Thanos moment.
We didn't know what it was. We didn't know what we were losing.
What did it cost you? Everything.
Everything. We
Literally.
lost everything. We lost potentially a perfect couple.
Yeah, the one that really made sense. It just took a little while to get us there, but
Now, I do think that like she won't go with him because
God, I hope she does.
if she's sobbing over the photo booth picture, he's probably already gone.
I would imagine. But maybe she's just debriefing by herself before she makes the decision to leave. I don't know. And I also like Hannah, so I don't want her to be like off the show, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's heavy, man. Some heavy shit.
Yep.
Let's get to some questions.
Boy, do we have a lot. This might be the most questions we've ever had on a show. First one up here from Health Goddard. Thoughts on the Alandria and Nick ship? Lots of fans talking about it on Twitter. I support it. I see chemistry there.
I don't know. I don't know. Not for me.
No,
No, and it's because I'm so stuck on the Taylor and Alandria
that's
thing.
fair. From newsbooze.wwc, do you think Huda will break immediately or go straight for revenge?
Revenge.
I think revenge right away, honestly.
I think that the first night they're sleeping in bed together, you'll just see her like behind something with her eyes just like staring at them.
Yeah, I agree with that. From Ken's Young, is no one else thinking Jeremiah is a major game player? He's here for the W. I thought that originally. Now I think he's toxic and probably a little too lost in the sauce.
I still think that he's looking for the W.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think they all are. But, the real W is finding someone you love.
That's the real W. Unless somebody rips it from you and votes you out.
Here from Jade Brianna. What are you seeing in Taylor and Alandria? He didn't apply pressure until Jalen arrived.
Because of their connection. Because you can say it's a friendship. You can say it's whatever. They are so comfortable with one another. More so than anyone else in the house. So when I see that, intimacy can grow. Especially in a situation like this. So I don't think it's fair to count it out. Only because he started applying pressure too late. Is that a problem? Yes, because now Alandria can question it. So that's Taylor's fault. I agree with that. But you saying that these two aren't cute when they're like they talk shit to each other, they laugh about it, they both understand each other really well. They both understand the other people in the house really well. They have great conversations about all of this. That's the foundation of a good relationship. So if they can find a way to be intimate with each other, bang. That's Talandria. Hashtag Talandria forever.
All right. From Jen R. Taylor should have went home. He doesn't have no connections and doesn't even like Alandria.
You guys are all going to be... Look, when this all shakes out and Talandria is still together at the end of this thing, you guys remember where I stood.
No, she's with Jalen.
You remember what side of history I was on when they couple back up.
Speaking of history, from M. Frank 91, after last night's episode, do you wish you voted differently? No, because I was on the right side of history.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any other way to go.
No.
I said that. Charlie made the most sense to me.
Oh, no. Like, vote, like America's vote.
You personal? Oh.
I voted correctly. So.
I would never vote for Taylor, so.
I didn't vote for Taylor. I voted for... Yeah, whatever.
What's going on?
I don't know, bro.
Carry on. Oh, we didn't vote for them to get kicked off. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, I think that vote was good, except for...
Oh, this is a great point from Joanna Pickles. They used to smoke on camera in early UK seasons and had a smoking area. We need it back.
Oh,
I agree.
God, I would love that.
We desperately need a smoking area.
Fucking butt hut debrief. Are you kidding me?
While you're at it, put the smoking sections back into those restaurants too.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
All right.
I hated leaving like a TGI Friday smelling like cigarettes.
Yeah. All right. That's fair.
But on the show, yes, bring that back.
Yeah. A lot of people saying that Amaya deserves an Emmy. I truly think that she...
I don't think that was acting.
I don't think that was acting. I think she was very distraught.
Yeah, she might still not be fully recovered from this.
Yeah. A lot of people asking what happened to Paige. We already covered that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is an interesting little spin from Zoe Kudla-Pole. Is Amaya being scapegoated? Charlie tried to get with her. Why would she want that for her BFF?
I actually fully agree with Amaya's original breakdown of the situation. I think Charlie was spiraling.
Yeah.
And just like went for Amaya because she doesn't have anybody really in Ace. And I think that he instantly realized what he was doing. I don't think that was a genuine move by him at all.
Yeah.
I think he was subconsciously trying to ruffle feathers and then realized it immediately like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah. From John Ojo, Huda and Jeremiah equals a disaster, but would the show be boring without them? The show would still be great. This is such a nice like added bonus.
Had this gone differently than exactly how it went, I think we might. I don't know. There would be issues there, but because of how well this played out, like it took this season was already like solid.
Yeah.
This took it to a different stratosphere.
Yeah.
Like, this is a different show now.
Jamie Gibbs has two really good questions. I'm going to do both of them.
Oh.
Do you think the boys were in cahoots to vote off Huda and Austin dropped the ball? Possibly.
Dude, when he says, oh, I fucked up, I was like, what the fuck was that, dude? And I really think this is what happened. I think that he stood up, gave his speech, panicked, saw Taylor, went, Taylor, wait, fuck. And then sat down and just had his head in his hands the entire... I can't wait for Taylor and Austin to talk. Like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. Look, I'm happy that Austin did fuck it up because Huda would have been gone and that would have sucked.
That would have sucked.
And the other question that Jamie had was, is Jeremiah relieved or scared? I think scared. I think he would have been relieved and he could have carried on for a little bit, but Huda wouldn't have been there. And eventually he would have moved on probably by the end of this week, to be honest.
By the end of
With Huda there, this is worse.
I think he's terrified, but I also think if you look at his, again, Jeremiah has the worst poker face on the planet.
Yeah.
While Nick and Ace were talking about Huda, he had to almost remind himself to look like upset because there was times where he was like nodding his head and I was like, what? And then he would be like, I'm like,
shit.
So Yeah, I think that he's terrified, and I think rightfully so. And I think that Iris should be scared.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to get messy as
It's
shit.
going to get very messy. And last one here, this just puts a little time frame on there, which we always appreciate, but this one's insane. Hard for me to, from Mad Walp. Hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that this was filmed on Saturday night.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
Hats
We're
off to
sitting
the
here
editors.
talking about this on Monday. It came out last night. They did this on Saturday.
They're currently going through this.
Reeling.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Right now, in this very moment, Huda is hiding in a bureau watching Iris and Jeremiah sleep.
You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm. That's verified.
Yeah.
But
what an episode.
Dude, just what a show. What a fucking show. I love when this happens in shows. Like we don't get these moments very often, you know, in every show that we watch. Occasionally we will. In our 3 years of doing this? Every so often, few and far between, an episode just erupts and you weren't expecting it, and it just changes the entire season. And that's what we had here. This was exceptional.
I think we've got more of these in here, too.
I think so, too. And I think that if that's the route this show wants to go, it's like the slow burn with this turning into a great season, because in the beginning, you're like, wow, everyone's kind of coupled off. Like, they don't seem to be branching out too much. It seems kind of slow.
That messy, yeah.
And that would suck unless something like this happened. And then you're like, holy shit, nobody's safe. Fuck yeah, let's get messy.
There's bombshells and then there's bombs.
Yeah, and this was a bomb with a shell.
Yep.
But I'm probably going to watch tonight live.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Because I can't wait to figure out what happens.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. You got anything else?
Nope. All good.
Well, that's our show. Bros gotta go.